Thank you for joining us today, guys. Today we are joined by Anthony Pierre. He's got an incredible journey about how he has figured out ways to develop systems, to develop structure on his path to becoming a very successful real estate investor and entrepreneur. So excited to have you on the show today, Anthony. You want to just introduce yourself quickly to the audience so they know a little bit about your background?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being on your show. And yeah, I've been, investing in real estate for more than 20 plus years. Started from nothing. So I'm from one of them schools that I believe that no matter where you are, you can go wherever it is you're trying to go. You just got to get started, and also just get the necessary tools that you need to get there. So, and hopefully today I can share some of them tools with you that can help you guys get started and kind of get going in this particular game. Life journeys. I mean, I've had some ups and downs in my life. Done extremely well in real estate, and at one point in time was on top of the world, and a few things happened in that game, and then fell at the bottom and the lowest of the world. But one of the things that I learned going through that experience is that every stage, every phase that you're going into your life is actually momentum into where you're going. So the worst thing you can do is stop your momentum by quitting. So one of the things I understood that. So one of the things I would never do is ever stop my momentum once I decided what I wanted to do. So despite the trials and tribulations that I've faced over in my life, I've always tried to figure out ways to turn those things into lessons that will continue my journey and help me to continue to get where I was trying to go, especially in the world of investing, and most importantly in life, because it's more to life than just about, how much money that's in your bank account. It's other aspects of your life, and you really need to have more of a balanced life. So that's something that you learn along the way. You start going for the money, and then eventually you realize, oh, well, the money really means nothing. You need some other stability, because now you got your marriage is falling apart. This is happening. All these other things is falling apart. And you thought that money might be the reason to be able to save you or help those things, and it doesn't. So that's my life, man. I another thing that I didn't mention, but one of the things is too that I also ended up going to prison for a short period of time. I ended up doing 6 years in prison for helping a friend, and ended up getting myself caught up in stuff in something that was bigger than me. And one of the things that I learned is that having all these things and having houses and all these things, and then you're associating with someone who may not have all that stuff, is that typically now if they do something that's wrong, the attention turns to you. And I ended up finding myself in a situation where now I was looking at me like, hey, he's probably the ringleader. He's the one who's probably behind it. He's using his real estate as a front game, all these different things. So, man, it ended up costing me, man, 6 years of my life, man, helping a really, really good childhood friend that really I was reaching down and, really trying to pull out and say, doing anything that can help them. But I realized real quickly, man, which is a biblical principle, bad associations, spoil use for habits. So again, disassociation ended up costing me not only a lot of my real estate, a lot of the investments that I had in my life at that time, but it cost me time. I ended up spending, unnecessary time in prison and dealing with a whole nother world of issues and problems. But again, that's my life, and that's a page, but it was only a page.
Lots of ups and downs, obviously, in your incredible journey, right? In your athletics career, right? And the incarceration, building the portfolio. It sounds like sliding back, building back up again, and kind of this never quit attitude. One of the things that we're always talking about with our audience is, where do you put your money once you've got it, right? How do you invest for the future? What's the most important either system or strategy that you've been able to leverage over your career that you would say, hey, if you guys did one thing, this is the thing that you guys should do? What would that one thing be for you?
If for me, and even with most of my students, the first thing is that you have to think in terms of being financially free. And what I mean by that is that, what does it mean to be financially free? Does it mean that you need $1 million? Does it mean that you have to have millions of dollars in your bank account? No. For me, financially free is having enough passive income that surpasses your current income, because you need a measuring stick. So what I mean by that is that if today, right now, you're making $4,000 a month, can you create $4,000 of passive income that will surpass the money that you're making right now? So that's really what financial freedom is, right? Because now at that moment, as soon as this passive income, you know what I'm saying, exceeds your current income, if you don't want to work, you don't have to work, right? So technically you are financially free. And it doesn't mean that you have to have $1 million. So meaning that if $4,000 came in more than what you're spending out on your bills right now, in a sense, you are financially free. And if you can continue to grow that and make sure that you actually control your spending and your bills, then what happens is you get to a point where you have so much income coming in that you can kind of write your own life in terms of what you want to do and where you want to spend your energy and your time. And I found that real estate is one of the best tools that you can use for that. So if I was someone, one of your audiences, and let's say I was just starting over, which I've had to do before, I mean, one of the first things I would do is I would purchase an income property, you know, and I would try to make sure that it brings in great income and great cash flow. So for example, let's just say someone was trying to figure out how to do that. Well, you got tons of different programs that you can use. Of course, we know that you got, you know, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, you got FHA, you can do a 203-1, you can do an FHA loan or a 203B loan for FHA. You got all these different loans that you can use. And I always say, hey, why not be, if you're a first-time home buyer, why not purchase a multifamily as your first house? Why go and purchase a big old, you know, white picket fence and this house, and now you got this $1,000 or $1,200 bill that you got to work for every day? How about you go get you a 4-unit and you live in 1 unit, and now you bring it in cash flow of $1,200, and now you just added $1,200 of cash flow or $2,000 of cash flow instantly to your life that comes in no matter what. And each of those other 3 tenants are going to work each and every day, making money, and it's going strictly into your pocket, and actually really is laying the foundation for your financial freedom.
Well, Anthony, how'd you get to the point where freedom, right, and choice, right, and creating these passive income streams, right, to give you that opportunity, and how you articulated that, right, was more important than, you know, the white picket fence and the kids in the front yard and all of that? Because I think that's tough, right? You grow up and that's the vision everyone's got, right? Go get the big house, go get the nice car, you know, go get the Benz with the white interior. And like, how does that all, how'd you get to that point?
Man, you know, I had to start looking at the system, man. Me going through what I went through, man, and just dealing with it, and then to build something, you know, I ended up building, when I first started off my career, I ended up purchasing 17 houses in 6 months, putting $450,000 in my pocket and purchasing over 2.2, almost $3 million in real estate. And then I think I'm on top of the world. And then all of a sudden we had things like 9/11 happen and other different things that came down the line. We had the crash of the banking system, and then all this stuff happened, and then all this collapse. And then I end up having that mishap. So learning a lot about our system made me realize that we've been lied to, man. You know, we've been lied to all this time, man. And, you know, and we're being painted this Hollywood picture in terms of what our lives should be and how it should be. And this is how you should look, and this is how you should act. And man, really, it's just a facade, man. And it's nothing but advertising to create more money for our banking system and other different things. Yeah, if you got that vision and that dream, when they came up, when they passed in 1934, when they passed that act for FHA and made that for, and gave this American dream that everybody should own a home, they wasn't talking about multifamilies. They were saying, go buy a house with a white picket fence. And guess what? From 1934 on, shortly after the Great Depression, everybody want to go out, and now they want to buy a home. And what did? They created debt. And then what was the next thing they ushered in? Credit cards, tons of credit cards. And now that was another thing. So I started looking at this, and I started looking at the ones that actually had wealth. They went in an entirely different direction. They never went and got the white picket fences in the house. They went and actually got something that was bringing in income. They actually started an actual business, which is really what America is built on. Another thing that I didn't realize, we teach our kids to go and get a job, whereas we should be teaching our kids to actually innovate and start a business, because everything revolves around the business, right? And all our laws actually really protect what? Businesses, right? Who get all the write-offs? Businesses. Who pissed off at certain people that are famous, and I didn't say their name, and say they don't pay any taxes? Why? Because they got businesses, and this country was built for businesses, but they will never tell you that in person. So I'm here to tell you that you was lied to. And I realized that. So that's why I realized that, building income and building income streams and building multiple streams of income is the best way to start the foundation of your life, and then continue to add on that and build on that. And irregardless of what happens with our system, it does not matter, because you got the blueprint on how to actually really be successful, which is creating passive income and also streamlining your money into businesses and other things that can actually give you tax write-offs, allow you to be able to protect your wealth. And then now you don't have to have as much wealth to actually be what? Wealthy.
It's fascinating. It's almost this, it's fascinating and unfortunate from my vantage point at the same time, because it's almost like you had to be repressed or held down by the system to understand that the system, how it worked and how it was broken, to then rise above it, right? And it's unfortunate and sad in the fact that people having to go to that to get to where you are and the freedom that you have today, right? But on the flip side, you've got a great experience that you can share with everyone, right? And so it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's like, it's painful when you're going through it, but you know what I'm saying, but the thing of it is that any type of thing that you're dealing with right now, you got one of two choices. You could be just going through it and trying to deal with it, or you can grow through it, meaning take from it everything that you can in order to actually add on, stack on, and build on to not only your knowledge, your wisdom, but most importantly, your understanding. I mean, the thing that I think that most people struggle with, especially with money and things like that, is that they don't understand money. All right. And once you understand money, everything changes. And see, for a long time, I was trying to understand money, and I thought I understood money, but I can say for the first time really in my life, I do understand money. And the thing that I really always saw is that your problem isn't really a money problem. Your problem usually is you, not the money, it's you. You're afraid to go out and put systems together. You're afraid to go out and start a business. We continue to make every excuse why we can't do this and why we can't do that. So what I found out is that you don't have any problem getting money. You have a problem actually with action and getting out and just going for the money and going for the things that you want in life. So what I mean by that is this, is that once you understand the money, you really realize that people with money, the only way they can continue to grow their money is that they have to actually find someone to invest their money with or invest their money in, because that's the only way it can grow. So if I got $1 million and I spend $1, I don't have $1 million anymore. So in order to actually continue to have more money, I got to invest it. And to invest, I have to take risks. So it takes a different temperament, because some people with money may lose some of their money in the beginning to invest, and then eventually, because it was a great investment, make money down the line, right? So they take risks. Whereas we try to hold on to our little bit of money and keep it in our bank accounts, and it's just sitting there and it's rotting away, and inflation is just eating it up, and you're not getting anything on your money because it's just sitting there, and you're afraid to invest in yourself. So the biggest problem is that it's no problem with money. It's no problem getting money. It's an influx and an abundance of it out here. You just got to actually figure out how to gravitate it to you. And it usually starts with action, and it usually starts with you investing in yourself. And that's one of the things that I find with most people, is that they're afraid to invest in themselves. And you know why? Because I was the same way, right? You know why are we afraid to invest in ourselves?
Tell me why.
Because we don't trust ourselves, because we don't lie to ourselves a million one times. And sometimes when you even look in the mirror, you say, sometimes you tell yourself, man, you full of crap. Like, because we don't follow through on certain things that we said we were going to do, right? So sometimes we get afraid and we don't want to take that step because we have letting ourselves down on so many different situations. So that's why I always say is that momentum is the most powerful force that you have. So the only way you can gain momentum is that irregardless of if you trust yourself or not, you got to get started. And then if you don't trust yourself, then get mentors or other people that can actually help you to start to trust yourself and build confidence in you. So that way you can actually, bridge the gap in the learning curve and be able to get where you're trying to go a lot faster than taking the route that I took, go through college, get out of college, work a job, figure out you can't do this, that, just back and forth roller coaster. These kids nowadays, you can just get out here and get right to it and get there, in a very, very short period of time. So I think that's, what's important, man. It's just understanding that money, man, people with money need you. So if you're not out here creating and giving opportunities to them to invest their money with you, then you're missing out. And real estate brings the greatest opportunity than any other vehicle, on the earth, right now. It has always. I mean, some people might argue because crypto is doing amazing and stuff like that, but I still am 100% with real estate because it's backed by an asset.
Ride or die with real estate.
Ride or die with real estate.
So as you were talking through, right, obviously overcoming the system, gaining perspective on the system, the motivation, the mindset, you talked a little bit about mentors, right? Was there a mentor or a book or something that helped propel you on this journey in terms of finding these, passive income, cash flowing assets on the real estate side that you might tell someone like, start here?
You know what, I've had over my life, I've had tons of mentors, but one of my first mentors was, was Russ Whitney. I mean, that was like one of the first times where I actually read a book, a real estate book that actually touched me. And because, I liked his story because he came from nothing. And at that time I was coming from nothing, didn't have anything. So, he was able to give wisdom, insight in ways that I could, that resonated with me and that I could relate to. And that I was able to actually be able to, take in and digest. So that was one of my first, but I've had many, and tons of books. I mean, Rich Dad, Poor Dad series. I used to read all of those books. That was extremely important early on back, many, many years when those books started to come out. Great series. A lot of those books are great books. Tons and tons of people. But if I was to tell anybody to start, is I would say, start with a book that's going to teach you about cash flow and how you can actually cash flow with real estate. A lot of people want to go out and flip houses and stuff like that. And it's great. I do flip houses. A lot of people want to go out and wholesale. Great. I do wholesale as well. I do all those different things because they're all different ways that you can make income. But cash flow is for the long game because you don't have to stress yourself out. It's just the long game. It's like, okay, I just added additional $2,000 this year to my income. And then, next year you may pick up you another one. And now you added 4. And then you add 6, and then you add 10, and then you just keep building on it. But at the same time, you can still do some of the other stuff. You can learn how to flip. You can learn how to wholesale. But, with me, I'm just big on creating the right foundation because I know that if somebody would have took me by the hand and really showed me the right foundation, because even though I had this stuff with Russ and all these different things, I never really had, even though I paid for mentors and stuff like that, I never took it to that level where I had someone to actually sit me down and teach me. I still had to read it through books. I still had to sit in classes and maybe ask questions, but it's a whole nother thing when you have someone that you can actually contact and says, hey, what do you think about this? And really have a heart-to-heart conversation, and they give you real wisdom and insight, and they're where you want to be, or maybe way past where you want to be, and you're trying to get there.
Appreciate that. As we've got listeners who may be viewing you as that person, right? And who can give them advice or reach out and help them get where they want to get to. What's the best way for them to, reach back and be able to connect with you?
Well, right now, the best way is they can, if they're familiar with Linktree, I actually got a, I actually deal with Linktree. You can go to Linktree and you can go /A Pierre 1002. That's APIERRE 1002. And there you can jump on Linktree, put that in. You'll actually gain access to me if you guys want consultation. I do free 45-minute consultation. In that consultation, we'll talk about things like, put your plan together. I'm a very systematic person. So of course, anytime we get on the phone, it's going to be a lot of value added, because for me, it's not about the money, but it's about getting you off your couch and getting you off your butt. So that's the most important to me, regardless of what type of money you put in my pocket. So that 45 minutes is really all about you. I also got a free webinar on there that you can actually go in, which I teach you 5 simple steps to making $50,000 or more on all your real estate flips. So you can jump on there and watch that for free and gain some wisdom, some insights on that. I got a Facebook group every week at 8:30 on Wednesdays, which will be tomorrow. So if you guys jump on, you get a free, I always teach something on my Facebook group, giving them some wisdoms and some insights on some real estate strategies and so on and so forth. So you can jump on there for free and get that information and join my Facebook group, and you get access to me every week, and you can get free information there. And then of course, I do got the book Boundless Success. If you're interested in that, you're looking for some motivation, because it's more of a motivational book. It tells a little bit more about my story. It talks about, how I view failure. My segment in this book is called "There's No Such Thing as Failure," because I believe there really is no such thing as failure. And I talk a little bit about that and give my ideas and philosophies on that. So that's the best way to get in contact with me. Also on there, you got access to all my social medias: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. So there you go.
Very awesome, Anthony. Appreciate you spending time with us today, and loved your story, and look forward to staying in touch.
Man, thank you, man, for having me, man. It's been a pleasure, man. I look forward to, coming back soon.